Results are one of the most comfortable ways to tell how good a character is, but sometimes there is a case where one person carries the character's results to the point that we don't really know if it's the person carrying the character or the character themselves. I just wanted to make this video to talk about some cases and try to figure out myself what the case is. First, let's talk about MKLeo's Byleth. Now, I truly believe that Byleth is a good character, but definitely not to the level that MKLeo was a few years ago. Leo was winning everything with this character, and I wasn't really sure why. It seemed like maybe he just found moves that no one else knew. Maybe Byleth was actually secretly top tier, but honestly, I think it was more that Byleth's strategies just weren't shown yet, and no one knew how to deal with like two very important moves, Nair and Up B. Nair just seemed like this impossible move to deal with. It did so much for Byleth. It leads to combos, it's great out of shield, it catches jumps, it catches approaches. It's very, very good and very big. Same thing with Up B. You can do so many crazy combos with Up B, and it kills at absurdly early percents if you can do Up B to back air or Up B to side B or even Up B to Nair. It's like Up B just seemed like it had limitless potential, and when it came to Leo, he was good at taking stocks with just doing Up B to get certain characters like Roy and Cloud and just like go off stage and just do the Up B so that he spikes them with it. It's crazy. And I still think Byleth is a good character, but Byleth's flaws are very apparent. Still very slow, still doesn't have a combo breaker, still gets pressured pretty hard by fast characters. There are a lot of fast characters that do very well against Byleth. Really hard to hit small characters like Pikachu, which is why I think Leo struggled so much because against like Esam back then, because he just didn't have a character that did well against Pikachu. And that might be like, okay, but Byleth still has the straights, right? Still has the Up B thing, still has the Nair thing. But when you just look at the spread of the matchups and the tier list, enough times you're going to see, oh, this character is a bit too fast, this character is a bit too small, this character is a bit too pressury, and it just makes sense to say that Leo pretty much caught people off guard, and that's why he did so well. And he still brings the Byleth outs here and there sometimes, but it's obvious that Joker's still a better character, and he's better with Joker, so he's mostly be doing that. And his fall off may not just have been that, oh, he didn't play enough, but people just started learning how to deal with Byleth options and learning how to pressure the character without getting hit by Nair and Up B out of shield. It's a bit weird, and I still think Byleth could go like in high tier, but not a top tier character. When it comes to a character that I think someone actually shown how good they are, it's Corrin and Shattuck. Well, I think Corrin at the beginning of the game, or to most people, was considered mid to high tier. You know, being a sword character in Smash is still very strong. Having a Destroy to go through moves is very good in a game with frame data being so fast, and just being able to swing through it is broken. But Corrin was still on the slow side, and no one knew how to really frame trap with the character yet. No one knew how powerful the combos would be. No one knew how crazy Corrin is until Shattuck started popping off. And now people are starting to say that Corrin's the best sword character in the game. Better than Cloud, better than Pyra/Mythra, better than Lucina, better than all of them. Because she's just so consistent. Her frame traps are ridiculous. It feels like you have to go to ledge or you're just getting it frame trapped over and over until you die. Nair is broken, up air is broken, back air is strong as hell, pin is fast and gigantic and strong as hell. She has so many amazing moves. Yes, she still is a bit slow, which could be her really only problem, but like, I don't know how you approach this character safely with how crazy she is. That being said, the Empress, like Shattuck showing this to people was him being better. Like, he had to play neutral, he had to show the frame traps, he had to get his timings right, he had to space the pins, and now everyone's starting to see how crazy the character is. And I still think that Corrin is crazy, and Shattuck just showed that. Why there aren't that many Corrins, I don't know. This character isn't even that hard, but it definitely says something that we're this late in the game and we found out about this like a bit late, so I think everyone just stuck to whoever characters they've had. Like, there aren't any new people rising up. This character isn't going to carry you like Steve would or Sonic would, where you can just play them and you're going to start winning constantly. Like, you need a really good player who likes the character a lot to be able to show that, and I think Shattuck is that, but there isn't going to be another one, I think, other than like what's his name from Japan, shoot, I think it's Neo. Neo probably. Other than those two, I don't really see that many Corns. I wish Cosmo still played this character actually, because this character is nuts. That being said, yeah, everyone's still stuck on their ways, everyone's still playing their mains, so we might not see more Corns, but this character is nuts. Next up, we have ZSS, and ZSS was heavily carried by Mars results for a long time. I think second place was probably Doorstop now, I think. I can't really remember any other ZSSs. But even Mars has said multiple times, like, doesn't believe in the character or thinks the character sucks. I think the character sucks thing is just a meme, but I don't know. The more characters that came out throughout the game, the more matchups she just struggles with. Like, I still think that she does great against Steve and does great against Kazuya. That's great. But Pyra/Mythra is so hard. And, like, it feels like you have to be playing those bad matchups because Pyra/Mythra is so hard, Cloud's pretty hard, and you fight them. You'll probably fight them all the time. Roy, I think, is pretty hard. You're going to fight them all the time. They're very common characters, very good characters, and they're going to be top players who play those characters. Mars has just pushed through it and beaten a lot of people, but it does feel like this is a character that was shown to be crazy just because of how insanely good Mars is. I still think ZSS is a good character, still very much high tier at least, but we used to have ZSS in like top 5, being like, oh, she's the hardest character to hit in the game when like Joker and Pikachu exist. And I don't think people believe that anymore. I don't believe that anymore. I don't even know if Mars believes that anymore. We'll see though. I still think that there's a lot of potential with this character. I still think she has some interesting follow-ups, but her damage just doesn't match the top tiers. Like, she doesn't get free damage like everyone else does. And she's fast, which is broken in Smash. And she's safe, which is broken in Smash. But without the damage to keep combat, like Steve doing 80 to you, Rob doing 80 to you, Pikachu doing 80 to you, Joker doing 80 to you, or not really Joker doing 80 to you, but like killing you off in an edge guard, Pyra/Mythra keeping you in disadvantage for forever. Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's any way you can possibly keep up other than being safer and being hard to hit. Overall, I think Mars was very much a case of making people believe in a character that was just good and not insane. And finally, we're talking about Spargo and Cloud. When it comes to Cloud, Cloud has amazing moves. He is pretty much the perfect Smash sortie when it comes to having great counter approaches, great pressure, great disjoints. Really, the only problem people see is his recovery, which I think people realize now is not actually that bad. He drifts very far. He has snapping the ledge. He can go above ledge. He can usually swing to beat people. He pretty much has to be red to be killed, which, sure, he can be red. And there are characters like Min Min and Pikachu who do love beating him up for that. But he still has such a neutral that those matchups aren't bad enough for him to worry about it. That being said, Spargo himself has played different characters for matchups he doesn't like he has went against Sonics with Pyra/Mythra and Roy multiple occasions. He doesn't only play Cloud, but majority of the time, like 95% of the time, he does play Cloud and show how crazy this character is. I think he's in the middle ground, right? I think Cloud is really good and probably top tier, but the fact that Spargo is an amazing player is the only reason he's able to show that. You gotta be amazing at Smash to play a good Cloud. You can make up for a lot when you're playing a top tier character, but Cloud isn't that type of top tier character to me. He does have limit to come back, and his limit moves are really good, but they don't all kill at 0, and there aren't free ways to combo into them. You really do have to get a hit before then. And Spargo's just tenacity and practice and efficiency of being amazing with pressure, I think really shows how good this character is, and shows that even if he is the only one carrying the results of Cloud, Cloud's still great. Even if he's the only one who top 8s with Cloud, Cloud's still great. Now, the difference between this and probably a Leo scenario is that I think when you look at the character's options, there's so many avenues to mix up. Where Byleth doesn't really have as much as Cloud, doesn't have the speed that Cloud has, which is broken in Smash, doesn't have the sword that Cloud has. Well, he has a sword, but not as good of a sword. Doesn't have the free pressure, doesn't have the out of shield, doesn't have the comeback mechanic. Like, I think if you just look at the options, you can make it a pretty good assumption about how good a character is yourself without having to need results to basically define how you think about the game. And I hope that people will take this as a reason to believe in the character they have. You might be the guy who is the Leo or the Shattuck, where you either play a character that no one knows or doesn't expect and win, or you become Shattuck, who just shows how a character really was underrated. Overall, that's the cool thing about Smash Ultimate, is you never know what you're going to get when it comes to tournaments. You might see an Isabelle be a top tier. It just takes a guy to show it.